All right, guys, it's 7 o'clock. That means it's time for Track Talk. And Track Talk is powered by W Energy Drink. Guys, if you haven't done so yet, check out W Energy. Use my code LoneWolf47 on your first order. Get you your discount and get energized because honestly, guys, the stuff works. Jitterless, no crash. I can't say enough. Everything they told me about it was true. So, excuse me. Anyway, guys, wanted to talk about a couple things tonight, and one of those things was the novice or beginner's class. Now, a couple different threads popped up online this week about the two, and or the two about the class, depending on its name: rookie, beginner, novice, sportsman, whatever you guys want to call it. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit because honestly, guys, I think the class gets a bad stigma, and it's actually detrimental to a lot of people that it may be able to help. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit, and so here we go. Guys, novice is a developmental class. I mean, it's meant for people who are just starting out, people who are learning how to race, how to tune a car, how to drive a car, the finer points of passing and so forth and so on. It's a developmental class. And I think it's imperative for tracks not only to offer it, but to promote it. And there's a big difference in the two. Number one, there are tracks that don't offer a novice class, and that's pretty cut and dry, is that they just don't have it. I encourage them to reconsider and have that because you got to start somewhere. Two, the people that do have it, the people that are running it, need to advertise the idea or promote the idea that they are running a novice class because honestly, the way that it's seemed to me in the years that I've been back at this now, from the beginning of when I got back at this now, has been that when someone wants to get in a novice class or racing and they're in the novice class, it's almost this big push from the track and from the experienced guys to get away from and out of that class. It's like it's got some stigma attached to it where if you're in the novice class, you're somehow lesser than. And that's just simply not the case. Not if it's being done right. Stop. Sorry, new cat, and it's his first show. So, I know that I've talked to some people where it's not that they don't offer it, it's just that they don't have enough people signing up for it or coming in for it or whatever. And again, I think that goes to that taboo feeling that the word novice, the word rookie, the word beginner gives off because of the way that the more experienced veteran, whatever you want to call them, drivers treat the novice class. And I don't understand that either because honestly, guys, I mean, if you're out there and you're one of the more experienced guys, and no matter how you feel, I mean, I'm one that doesn't feel like there are upper and lower classes, there are just different classes in racing. There are others that feel like, if you're running late model or sprint, you're in the upper classes and the whatever. But no matter who you are and what you race, if you're a veteran driver and you're on the track with someone that's not as experienced and they ruin your race by creating a crash or whatever the case may be, bumping you out of position by accident while they're in lap traffic, then why are you making it sound to them like the novice class is somehow lesser than? If you want those guys to come up in racing and be the quality of racer that you get at your local hobby shop, the quality of driver that your local scene is able to produce, then why wouldn't you want them to come into racing the correct way by promoting the idea that novice is a good thing, not something to be looked down upon. So I blame that on the veteran drivers, as simple as that. And for those that will bitch and moan and complain when there is a driver on the track wiping them out, that makes novice class sound like it's lesser than, then so be it. That's your fault. Now, I've been known to bitch and complain about drivers wiping people out every which way they turn. But I'm also a big supporter of novice class, and I think it has a key role in what we do as a developmental process for these people, men, women, children of all ages, to get started in our hobby of radio-controlled racing, learn how to do things, and then progress to other classes where they can be more competitive, whether they're just doing it for fun or they're doing it because they want to climb some imaginary ladder of progress and towards, local hero stardom, like some of these experienced guys think they are. So there's that. And again, guys, I'm very opinionated, and I don't care. I'll tell these guys that have treated it like I'm portraying them to as such. I mean, I remember when I started back into it 3-4 years ago now, I started in novice. I hadn't raced in over 30 years. The technology was all different. The cars were built different. Of course, I'm going to start in novice class. And I did well. So, a couple guys spoke to me about trying the next step for myself instead of remaining in novice class. And so that's what was done. I found myself in a little more competitive environment for my driving style and experience, and I enjoyed that. I think for a person like myself who'd had experience in the past, to come in, learn a few things about the process, learn a few things about the way the technology had advanced, and then move on, was the right approach for me. I would have hated to have been thrown into, a room full of guys that were just going to beat me up, tear me up, push me out of the way or whatever, and then gone home frustrated. Oh, wait, that's what these people keep doing to all these beginners. Guys, we're here to build the hobby. We're not just here to participate in the hobby. And if you are, then you shouldn't have an opinion. Just participate and go home. But since everyone has an opinion, and lo and behold, they all think they're correct, then what you should do with that opinion is help others into the hobby, to build it and leave it in a better place than you found it. Let's see, Mike. Some people don't. Well, and that's the other thing, Mike, throwing them to the wolves. I like what you did there with the wolf pack. But, there are different criteria that should be run as well with novice classes. For one, when I first started back, it was RCE, it was Ed Som running the show as the race director. And if you raced novice, you didn't race any other classes. I believe in that. That's the way we do it in the club because of that. Because honestly, if you're running in the novice class, you are learning, you are developing, and there's no need to be running multiple classes while you're trying to learn something that might be brand new. I don't like seeing places let people run both so that, some that may not have an opportunity to trophy in some classes will run novice on a trophy race so that they can get their little award. I don't like that either. This is not when you're on the fun side of things, there's a whole different mindset, and for the most part, it fits what I'm talking about. But when we're talking about those kind of attitudes and those kinds of behaviors, We're talking about people who think themselves more competitive than not. If you are a competitive person in this hobby and you think it's okay to run novice class so you can simply get a trophy, or to let your kid who's been doing it for 2-3 years run novice that night to get a trophy, you're part of the problem. You're taking away from the real novices. And if your kid does belong there, then so be it. Leave him there. Don't be letting him run the other classes and essentially have the opportunity to ruin someone else's night. So again, that's on the competitive side. Everyone pays to race. I don't want to be taken out or broken because someone doesn't know the value of novice class, whether track director, racer, race community, or otherwise. And I know a lot of guys that don't, so I don't feel like an asshole by saying that out loud. You know, when you're having fun, then have a blast. But I think that, at least maybe it's me or maybe I am right. Mike, you can attest to this. I think that in our club we try to make it so that both are acceptable. We try to make it so that even the guys that are competitive are there to enjoy themselves as well, and that we're having a blast doing what we do. The guys that aren't trying to be competitive, we're all still there trying to learn to be better racers and have some fun while competing and so forth and so on at whatever level. And I think that honestly is the right approach. I'm not trying to be biased or selfish or whatever here. I think that's the right approach. Not one of the people that I'm thinking of right now on our local scene is some kind of professional who's going to be, lighting up the scene at Hoagland and or the Chili Bowl this coming year. So as hardcore as their opinions are, I mean, for what? Because you think you're special at your track or two that you go to? I've said it 1,000 times, I'll say it 1,000 more. I will lose with a smile on my face as long as the racing's clean. I'm more than happy to do that because I'll have a blast doing it. If I don't lose and I finish better, then great. I'm going to have fun doing that too. Yeah, and Mike, confirms me in the comments. Agreed, everyone's equal and we're there to have fun. Listen, if competition is more important, then we can help you with that, no problem. But your values and your ideals and your approach need to be good. Being a part of the hobby for the enjoyment of the hobby needs to come first. And then if you want to compete at a higher level and enhance the amount of fun that you're having, great. If you want to compete and the fun goes away because you're too busy bitching, complaining, and thinking you're special, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. It's that simple. We race toy cars, guys. Grown men. Slow down. So, or speed up, depending on which one of those is your problem when competing. So there's that. And, that kind of lends itself right into the idea that we try to push in setting goals and progressing towards those goals. So from the novice class, we kind of bounce right into that tonight because I want to talk about that as well. Because I think they kind of go hand in hand in some sense too. I mean, if somebody's just starting out racing, they should want to achieve certain goals. And if they don't know what those goals are, it's up to us that have a little more experience to explain the ifs, ands, buts, and what's arounds for that. We try to promote our novice class as a learner's class and promote, quote unquote, promote the driver when we see improvements. Yeah, so I mean, well, and that's the thing. So that's what I was getting into next, Mike, as if you were reading my mind, is that the way we run our novice class, and again, kudos to Ed Sam, the way he did it back then. I don't know if they still do it now, but I essentially stole that right from him. You trophy 3 times in a calendar year, or if you or the track thinks you're ready to be put into a more competitive class rather than developmental class, there's a conversation that can be had. So, right, exactly. But that's part of those progresses and those goals, guys. When you're doing anything, I feel, again, just my opinion, if you're doing it right, then you have goals in mind. You have the idea that I'd like to compete with these guys, for instance, in this hobby. I'd like to make it tough for Mike to, get rid of me on a track, no matter what place we're in on the track. Those types of things. Sandman and Mike had a good battle going like that this year. Back and forth of who's going to beat who, and how difficult is it going to be to leave them behind. Goals, right? Achievements and accomplishments towards progress. Mike had a bunch of different goals throughout this year, and I dare say that he achieved just about every one of them. And that's good, because that's progress. That's him showing not only everyone around him, but himself, that he is developing those skills. He's got that knowledge, and he can put it all to use on the track, and so forth and so on. So progress and goals is a big part of what we do. Again, for the local superheroes that think they're special, even they have goals. They may not admit it to anybody but themselves, but they sit there late at night at their workbench twiddling tires, and they say, I just really want to be as good as so and so. And then they go to races, to try to do that. Whatever. Right, achievements. Be realistic with yourself. You're not going to come into the hobby and 3 weeks later, there may be that 1 in a million person that can do this, but there's not the average Joe that's going to go, ooh, I know what I'm going to do next week. I'm going to drive to New York, and I'm going to beat Dave Peak on his home track. Not many newbies are going to do that. You know what I mean? But if any, ever. So set actual goals, achievable goals. Mike's, Mike and Sandman, for instance. Okay, we're gonna beat each other. We've been on the track together, no matter where we are in the pack, all year long. One of us needs to leave the other one behind, and then they have a nice little battle to see who can do it. That's a wonderful goal. To say, hey, every race we have, somehow this other person is always in front of me. I want to put them behind me. That's my next goal. You know what I mean? Those aren't bad goals. It's competition. So it's not like that's a horrible approach or way to do things. It's competition. The fun in all of that is that the guy that knows he can beat you wants to continue to beat you, and the guy that wants to catch him and beat him for the first time, there's a battle, and it's a great thing. So again, that helps both people build their skill and push towards their goals and have a fun race. And let that not be lost, that within achieving these goals and competing, that is an absolute blast. I remember, I think, Mike, you and I have talked about this race a couple of times, where me and Bobby Miller were just going back and forth for third place. And it was and he got me. And it was one of the funnest races I've ever been a part of in the history of ever. It was back and forth. It was a chess match. It was a thinking man's game. It was very equal as far as, all things considered on the track that day for what the track condition was and otherwise. And it was one of the funnest races I've ever been a part of. I want that race every time over a trophy anytime. That's just a lot more fun, and the competition is awesome. Not only was it awesome, we raced it clean. um, to not pat myself on the back, but to both of our credit, Bobby and myself, that was some of the cleanest close racing I've ever been a part of as well. The few hiccups that were had, we waited for each other, we employed track etiquette, and then we moved on, and we were able to put it all back together again. So some of the funnest racing I've ever been a part of. And Bobby can go, so that was fun. Um, you know, when it comes to all of that, you kind of put it all in a nutshell. We all have to start somewhere. And it's upsetting sometimes to see how many people forget that someone was there to help them when it comes to these other people that are starting out, and the fact that they could help these new people. Some seem to forget where they started, and they think they're somehow better than, and that's sad. Don't be afraid, guys, to step to the guy in the pits and say, hey, I noticed this on the track, could I make a suggestion? And let that guy know that it's okay, and that you're there to help. A lot of us are, and it's just a matter of who those people are. Don't take the approach of, and I've seen this in other places, and people, more so the people, because it's all individualized. But don't take the approach, well, if they need us, they'll come talk to us. No, they won't. They'll get frustrated and leave the hobby before they've even achieved anything within it. This is, it's not an easy hobby for those who don't or haven't ever had experience in it. But it can be some of the most rewarding times, relationships, and fun that anybody's ever been a part of. Why take that away from somebody because you think they should come to you rather than you approach them? Drop your attitudes, guys. It's toy cars. It's toy cars. Like, it's not real. The trophies aren't real. They're just little plaques and pieces of paper and fake gold trophies. They're not real. They mean nothing outside of that little part of your life. The bigger picture is that you can help build the community, make someone's day, perhaps even help create yourself some really great competition. So that's for the experienced guys. For the newer guys, don't give up. You're going to find those types of personalities in any aspect of life, but you're definitely going to find them in RC, where you can do no right because you've wronged them somehow because they think they deserve better. Don't let that push you away. There are other people out here. And if you're in our local area, Facebook page, Wolfpack Racers Den. Come join us. We'll be more than happy to be those people for you. We'll get you as far as we can. We're not promising you the world, but we'll do what we can for you. If you're the establishments out there that have these classes that are not populated, I have a couple of opinions on that, and for whatever they're worth, here they are. Number one, stop allowing your regulars to portray the novice as some taboo thing that is not to be talked about, that is somehow lesser than. But rather promote it for what it is, and it's a developmental class. It's something that can help your new racers become lifelong customers if you do it well. And if you're in business to do this, a lifelong customer is worth a lot more money than a one-time sale. I'm not in business doing this, so I don't care how you do it, but that's a good business approach. Number two, back it up. If you're going to promote it that way, then back it up. When you see somebody in a class where they are outclassed, where they are getting frustrated, where they can be pushed away for that last time, maybe approach them, track owners, directors, otherwise, staff, approach them and suggest the idea of novice class, even if it's going back to novice class for the right reasons. Don't make it a demotion. Make it an experience. Make it a learning process. Make it something that they feel good about, because they should. Be amongst people of the level of skill that you've been able to develop, while developing more so that you can move back over here later and not get as frustrated. I mean, this isn't rocket science, guys. This is, quite honestly, if you just look at it in a big picture, basic human decency. I don't know. Just my thoughts. I know that I've had people in novice class with us, and I've had people move from it and do just fine. It's twofold. It's how the new racer approaches novice class, and it's how everyone and everything else around that new racer treats novice class. Race directors, business owners, it starts with you. If you treat it as the redheaded stepchild and you allow your local hero regulars to do the same, then no one's going to race in the novice class, because they don't want to look bad. They don't want to feel bad. They don't want to start where someone thinks they're lesser than. Do yourselves a favor, and I know you all watch after we're done live, so please, do yourselves a favor. Approach it differently. Last week we had about 20 some odd live, and then we had about 90 some odd views after the fact. So I know people are looking at it. Don't wait for it to become the industry standard. Be the trendsetter. Do something like that's right for your local community of racers, for your local hobbyists, to make racing more attractive. And don't be afraid to be the first. Can I tell you? Not one of us, business or otherwise, is going to be the first to do much of anything anymore. But we can be the next in our area to do it right. And that'll look like a first to those that don't know better. For now, guys, I'm the Hitman. This has been Track Talk. Treat each other better and help develop hobbyists, not shun them or frustrate them away. I'll see you next week. I'm out.